Alright, this is how to create a virtual machine. There are many reasons you might want to do this. For IT purposes, for fun, etc., etc. To get started, open up your internet browser and go to google.com. Once you are on Google, we will search free VMware workstation. And we're going to want to choose the option that is generally the first one, and it says download VM Workstation Player. Navigate to that site and scroll down. You will see the Try Workstation 16 player for Windows. We want the Windows option. Click download now and a box will pop up. Choose your destination path for saving the file. Mine, I prefer to save to the desktop because it's easier. And click save. I already have a file, so I'm not going to click save. It will close, and then you will have a file once it's done downloading at your location of choice. Once it is finished downloading, go to the file, double click it, and when it asks you do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device, you will click yes. It needs to install some drivers and stuff that you need to authorize for. Let it start up, and this is the setup wizard. Go ahead and click next. Read through this if you would like, and click I accept the terms in the licensing agreement. Click next again, and this will give you the option to choose or change your installation path for the software. I prefer to leave it as default, and we will leave these default settings for adding VMware Workstation Console tool into the system path. We do not need the enhanced keyboard driver to get started. So click next. I uncheck these because that's my preference. Feel free to leave them if you want. And then click on next. These are your shortcuts. You will probably want these to be selected just for ease of finding the software, and click next. This will be the end of the install wizard, and press install. I will pause this here because it will probably take a minute of going through. No, I do not want to cancel the workstation. And we are finished with that install process, and it brings you out to this screen. Click finish button to exit the startup wizard, and finished. Alrighty, so you now have your VMware workstation installed. Now we're going to go back to your internet browser and back to google.com, and we will be installing Carrot OS and searching for the download. Once you have searched this up, you will want to click on the parrotsec.org website, and the home edition is the first choice. If you so choose, you can choose the security edition or the cloud, depending on your needs. They just come pre-installed with different features. I chose the security edition. It's a little bit bigger. That's about the only difference as far as installation goes. Once you have your chosen edition, you will press download. Not this one. This one. So I'll go to the one that I already have pre-downloaded. Press download, and another fancy box will come up. Choose the path for that, and this will definitely take some time as it is a fairly large file. press save and the download will start. Go ahead and pause the video while this is downloading. Could take some time depending upon your internet speed. I have mine here. It downloads as a disk image file. It is an ISO file. Basically, it looks like a picture to your computer. At least that's my understanding. But once you have that fully downloaded and you know where to access it, we will move on to the setup of the VMware workstation. Double click on the icon and it will open this up. This is a pre-installed, or not a pre-installed, a operating system that I had previously installed already, so don't worry about that one. Once you get this up and you have your Parrot operating system downloaded, you will move over to create a new machine, and then a wizard will pop up again. The installer disk image file is where you can find, or where it can find that file. It automatically loaded up on the desktop file for me. Otherwise, just hit browse, navigate to your files directory, and click on it. Voila, and hit open. And then move on down and click next. Do not mind, by the way, as it says Debian 5 64-bit detected. It runs off of Debian software, or it's based on Debian software. It is Parrot. You can rename it to anything you want. Parrot OS, sure. And you can choose the location path for the actual download of the machine. Preferred to leave it as default. It is recommended. And click next. This option allows you to specify disk capacity, so it's how much space essentially you want to dedicate towards your virtual machine, or allow it to have access to. Recommended size is 20 gigs, more than enough. I think it only takes a couple of gigs of actual storage space for the operating system itself. So 20 should be sufficient. You can increase that if you feel inclined to do so. Moving on down here, store virtual disk as a single file or split it into multiple files. The default is to split, easier, but it doesn't really make a difference if you're just using it for recreational purposes. So you can go ahead and leave that, click next. On this next screen, you have the option to customize hardware. I would say only do this if you know what you're doing or really care about the performance of the virtual machine. You can alter the amount of processor cores dedicated to it while it's running, or you can also, your first option will be to change the amount of RAM that you can dedicate to it while it's running. Changing these will alter the performance of your host system while the virtual machine is running. I'm going to leave it as default, as I do not need any added hindrance on this system. Leave this selected, power on this virtual machine after creation, and we will run the Parrot operating system. Let it go. Go ahead and leave this little bottom section alone. Click inside the box and press enter on try install. It should be selected automatically. Let it do its thing. Just a heads up, as it was saying in the top left corner, press Control Alt and it will allow you to have access to your host system and then you can click in. I guess it's working regardless now. But let this fully load. Could take a second. And we have the Parrot operating system desktop page. Once you are here, you are basically done. Click I am finished installing, and voila.